Welcome to Worldwide Weddings TV, hosted by Miss Jennifer Janae Rabe of Ask Janae Today. You're definitely in good hands. a seasoned and professional host, and certified wedding specialist. Definitely the industry's best. Watch out for our weekly episodes. You'll be excited to watch them all. This is where you can have fun while learning how to plan your special day. Brought to you by Worldwide Weddings PH, helping Filipino brides and grooms around the world. Welcome to Worldwide Weddings TV, hosted by Miss Jennifer Janae Rabe of Ask Janae Today. You're definitely in good hands. A seasoned and professional host and certified wedding specialist. Definitely the industry's best. Watch out for our weekly episodes. You'll be excited to watch them all. This is where you can have fun while learning how to plan your special day. Brought to you by Worldwide Weddings PH, helping Filipino brides and grooms around the world.
to Worldwide Weddings TV. So this is the online TV show of Worldwide Weddings PH. My name is Janae Rabe, professional host and certified wedding specialist of AJT Events Management, also known as hashtag Ask Janae Today. So here in Worldwide Weddings TV, we feature different wedding experts nationwide, and of course, we learn wedding planning while having fun. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Aja Deliveries, of course, more than just deliveries, a delivery concierge, and BNI Supreme, the most successful business referral organization of its type in the world. And of course, our additional wonderful sponsor, Virtual Expo.ph. All right, so hello, Philippines, and hello, world. Good evening, good evening. This is our 8th episode of Worldwide Weddings TV. And if you are a Filipino and you are planning to get married in the Philippines, then you are in the right place. Every Friday night, we want you to make this as your weekly habit. Tune in and learn because we have wonderful wedding experts. So time check muna tayo. Time check in Singapore, of course, it's 9:10. In UAE, it's 5:10. In UK, 1:10 p.m. In US, at least in one part of the US, it's 8:10 a.m. So, and Australia, of course, our friends in Australia, they're probably at midnight right now. So this show is in alignment with the upcoming first and only nationwide bridal fair happening May 2021 and all the way to July 2021 with the virtual wedding expo happening on July 30, 31, and August 1. Online bridal fair. So to all our viewers, please do comment down below. We want you to interact. We want to know where you're from. And if you like, tag, and share, you'll get a chance to win 150 pesos load just by watching. Okay, so I know that a lot of our viewers are already excited. Kaya medyo pinapasword ko yung akong intro. Because tonight's wedding expert is the only 3 times best male host awardee by Aliw Awards. Wow! Talagang our wedding expert tonight is somebody that everyone is looking forward to hear from. He has 20 plus years of hosting experience across awarding ceremonies, product launches, conferences, forums, and of course, I love how he hosts in weddings. He's so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, I want to introduce you no other than Mr. RJ Ledesma. Let's show the poster. There. Siyempre, kailangan pakita mo namin yung poster na looks so dashing in this. And before we bring him on stage, we'd like to show some video reel or some sample works of our wonderful wedding expert. So let's watch this.
Please invite everyone to turn your attention to our screen.
My name is RJ Ledesma, and right before we begin,
Dapat may alam kayo tungkol sa love story nila. Look at the smiles on their faces.
please take a good look
At the person beside you,
I want you to give a pickup line that doesn't make you sound like a DOM. You are all very good looking.
don't be stressed just because hundreds of people are watching you. Okay lang yan.
And I must say, I'm sure tonight many of you plan to take photos of the wedding reception program. Please upload all your photos on Instagram.
How come I haven't heard any clinking of glasses for the newlywed? Indulge us in a very Instagrammable kiss.
I will ask a series of questions. Her lovely, smoky eyes. So twinkling eyes. Ayan. It doesn't matter if you are a young one or a young ones. As long as you've got And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
again, my name is RJ Ledesma. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang bagong kasal.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on stage Mr. RJ Ledesma.
hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you're from around the world. Maraming salamat for joining us here in Worldwide Weddings. Jenny, thanks so much for sharing that video. You know, that brings back a lot of great pre-pandemic memories for me.
I know.
Diba?
I was just gonna say, you look much younger now.
I do. No, I actually, you know, during this whole pandemic, one of the things I've done is I've committed to really a regimen of daily exercise. And I've lost about a good 15 pounds I went down from about 150, 151. I'm down to 138 right now. And, you know, it's great. I mean, I feel more mentally and physically fit at this time. Oh, and just a little thing, if you were watching that video, that was made by a very dear friend of mine. I'm sure we all know him, you know, a wedding videographer, storyteller extraordinaire, Jason Magbanua.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is we've been together in so many different weddings that he captured exactly the spirit of what it's like when I do wedding. Kaya natatawa ako because when I look back, it's that Jason knows me exactly because I didn't have to tell him, you know, what music to put or whatever, but he captured really the spirit of the animation of the character that I want when we're doing a wedding. So again, by the way, pasensya, you know, it's hard when you have two hosts speaking at the same time, me and you. But if you guys have questions there right now about wedding, Summer Reyes, Carulio, kumusta? Listening right now. Sorry, parang host ako. Please, if you guys have any questions on Facebook, please drop it in the chat box. Would love to hear from you guys. And at the same time, if you've got questions about me hosting weddings or just questions in general, or you want to comment, please tag me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Would love to answer you. Yeah, Jenny, sorry. Back to you.
All right. Yes, done like a real wonderful host. So, syempre tonight, RJ, ikaw ang ating i-interviewin, diba? So, it's your time to shine. And I'm really looking forward to this episode. A lot of our wedding suppliers are really looking forward to this because it is a really good topic to talk about the importance of having a host, whether it's the pre-pandemic wedding or even now that there's intimate weddings. So we want to find out from your stories the importance of having a host in a celebration. But before we talk about that, we want to take you back a little bit on how did you actually start as a wedding host? Maybe not everybody knows your backstory on how you got started, but you know, tell us a little bit on how you got started.
Would love to again. Summer Reyes, Carulio, thanks so much. Supporting my beautiful cousin. Talagang ang galing ng fans club mo dito. Janae, I really love it. So, you know, Janae and the rest of the people watching here right now, maraming salamat. Thanks for joining. It's so nice to be even virtually together with my fellow wedding suppliers. I look forward to the day again when we can all, after we all get vaccinated and we develop herd immunity, let's pray for that so that we're all together again in one venue and we can help make the most magical day in the lives of newlyweds just as magic as it was pre-pandemic. But you know what? Even during this pandemic and during this new normal, that doesn't mean that we still can't make your weddings even more magical, even more intimate, and more fun. Before I start discussing my background as a wedding host, this is one thing I want to point out. No, I'm actually a man of many hats, and I wish I had just as many heads. So among the other things that I do is I'm also an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and a mentor. And I host my own shows, or my own business shows here online and for Go Negosyo. I also, by the way, konting plug lang, I actually have a podcast called the RJ Ledesma Podcast.
Yes.
You can find that on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And on that show, I talk to different entrepreneurs to find out how they are pivoting and managing their businesses in the new normal. So I gained a lot of insight from that show. And one of the persons I particularly gained an insight from on that show is Bong Fadilion. And Bong Fadilion is the president of Phoenix. And why I really appreciated his advice to me is because it's advice that I could use not just in business, but in life as well. So, you know, I run a bit. For those who don't know, my other hat is I run a business called Mercato Central. Mercato is the largest night food market here in the Philippines, along with being a small food business incubator. And at the start of this crisis, this is what he told me. He said, RJ, you have to find a way to open your food market even at the height of this pandemic. And at the first, I was wondering, natataka ako, how can I actually do that? And he told me this one, you know what? I'm sure you'll make a lot of mistakes along the way, but you have to realize that this is a new environment that we're working in. It's the new normal, and you have to get used to doing business in the new normal. Yes, you'll make mistakes, but the thing is, you will learn, you will get better, you will iterate. And when you do, when the new world opens again, or when that new normal becomes normal, then you're able to cope with how it's practiced during that time. Hindi pwede na parang nasara ka ng tindahan bago nagka-crisis, and all you do is manonood ka ng Netflix buong araw, di ba? And then you just open up again after the crisis is done. But that's not true, di ba? The crisis is never over. And by the time it restarts again, you're too late. You haven't learned.
Naiwanan ka na.
Naiwanan ka na. So what's very important at this point in time, all of us in our own wedding professions, and I see many of us who are agile, who are adjusting, we have to learn to iterate. Yes, we might make mistakes along the way, but those mistakes are important as a wedding entrepreneur, which is basically what we all are.
Yes.
For entrepreneurs, failures or whatever's happening right now is just an investment. Failures are just an investment in learning how to do things better, learning how to do things in the new normal. So basically what I've learned also in this new normal is for us to be able to create more, that even intimate weddings are key, diba? But even in intimate weddings, how do you create a great intimate wedding atmosphere? And each person plays a part in doing that, from the planner, from the videographer to the photographer. And I just think, and I'll explain this mamaya, I'm sure this is what we'll be talking about, right? That the linchpin for putting all this together is a host, diba? Because if you're saddled with this crisis, if you're saddled with so many different things, and people are thinking the best way to quote unquote save money, maybe that's one of the things that people are thinking of. We shouldn't use host right now, but we're trying to save money. So they go through with other things, right? But if you want a picture perfect program to run like clockwork, if you want to make sure you engage guests who are based abroad and based here locally, because you're using you're using live streaming, you're using different things, right?
Yeah.
And you also want to make sure that the right things are said, because you're making people make a big investment nowadays. They might leave the house for a socially distanced event. You want to give them the best time of their lives, and an animated time, and who can put that all together. That's why you want to get a professional, seasoned host who knows how a program runs, diba? Who can make the atmosphere more animated, who can, it's like, why do you take milk tea nowadays? Because milk tea gives you a semblance of normalcy nowadays, right? You go to an event like this one, and the host is able to animate you, is very vibrant, is very spontaneous, gets you guys to laugh. It makes you forget what's happening all around.
Yes, yun, parang normal ulit.
It focuses on the program, but that's the benefit of getting a professional host who understands these things. Plus, you also want to get somebody who understands how to interact both with hosts, with guests who are live and online.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes people who have the experience, like you and me, who have that experience, to be able to do both. You can get a host probably who is your friend, but a friend, it doesn't mean that because if he's a good friend who has a great command of English, or a great friend who knows how to make you laugh, that if you put them all together in one room, he is still able to entertain everybody. Because our job as hosts is that, we know how to create rapport with people. Maybe sometimes you get a friend who's got good rapport with you, but it doesn't mean that the rapport he has with you translates to the rapport with everybody else in the audience. Our jobs professionally is to be able to create a rapport with everybody over there and make them feel that they're close to you, right? If someone says to you, hey, how come you seem to be so close to the audience and to the host? Are you a good friend of theirs? No, I'm here professionally, but that's my job to make them close to you. Now, having said all that, the reason I'm giving that background is that it takes me back about what was your background as a host, professional host.
Yes.
I didn't start off in the wedding industry. In fact, if you ask me my real background for hostings, I've been hosting ever since I was an 8-year-old boy on a show called The Children's Hour for June Keatley, which is coming out in the early 80s on Channel 4, on the government channel.
Yes, and our age is coming out.
Yeah, our age is coming out over there. People might not even be aware of that show. And, I've been hosting constantly since that time. I was, for those who remember, pakisabi lang po kung naaalala po ninyo, baka hindi na, no? But for those who are my age, I was, I actually acted in Repertory Philippines. I was a theater actor for Repertory Philippines, went through their workshop. I trained with Monique Wilson. And eventually, in my earlier days, I actually was in a variety show called Love Leia with Lea Salonga in my grade school days. And then eventually, I acted, I was the commercial model for Royal True Orange. Pwede niyo panoorin pa yan. Sa mga hindi nakakaalala, baka hindi pa yung pinapanak ng time na yan. No? But then, I was doing that as well. So, I had an exposure to a theatrical background and a performance background. Then eventually, I like talking a lot. Ayan, Carl Del Val. Carl Del Val, thank you so much for listening. Naaalala niya yung Royal True Orange. Ibig sabihin, magkapanahon tayo, Carl. No?
Yes.
So after that was done, I moved into, as I got to high school, I that's the time of That's Entertainment. Hindi ako nag-That's eh. So basically, I was doing the commercial, but then when I got to college, I was doing a lot of hostings for, in college shows. I had a talk show with Bea Lucero called Teen Talk during that time. And then eventually, from there, I went, after I got to work, after doing some professional work, I went back doing work for ABS-CBN, 5:30 on weekends, magandang umaga, magandang umaga, weekends. I hosted shows on Channel 7, called Best Men on GMA News. I did shows on ABC. I've done shows on TV5. So I did a lot of hosting there for TV work, right? And eventually, I also did a lot of live hosting shows. And so, there was an experience of hosting. But of course, being a good host on TV or on these news type shows does not translate to being a good host live. It's a totally different experience. And, I've got friends who are TV hosts, and when they see me, they're laughing. Sabi niya, RJ, how do you do both? I mean, how can you do both? Kasi, I enjoy doing live hosting because I love the energy I get from the crowd. Sabi niya, hindi ko kayang ginagawa mo na live hosting because it's a different atmosphere. Because this one entails you interacting with people. And, before I used to host for friends' weddings, and they enjoyed hosting for those weddings. And eventually, about 15 to 18 years ago, my sister got married, and she hired Rita Neri, who is one of the premier wedding organizers here in the country, to be the one to get to organize her wedding. And my sister, whether she liked it or not, had me host her wedding. and despite me hosting the wedding, the funny thing is they got married in Baguio. And I remember there was right before the wedding, there was a strong rain. So the whole venue in Camp John Hay, which is an outdoor wedding, nawala, di ba? So to keep the guests entertained, they made them drink, and I drank a lot because it's my sister's wedding. So when I was hosting, I don't know if she was laughing at me or with me, but people were laughing the whole time as I was hosting the wedding. So she offered, RJ, would you like to host weddings professionally? I said, Tita, game, let's try it out. And from there, it kind of snowballed. And I host forums. I host, so that skill I had for hosting I brought from my other disciplines of theatricality, of I guess public speaking. I was able to bring that into the weddings. At the same time, hosting weddings was a lifestyle thing. So it's a matter of getting along with people, developing rapport. I brought that to the other things that I do as well. So that's really my story as beginning as a wedding host. And I like to think that
thank you. We have to say thank you to your sister.
Yeah, my sister. I don't know if she's thankful, but yeah, I'm thankful to my sister for what happened over there. And I'm so happy. I remember it was a testament to me. I remember the first time that I received my first Aliw Award for Best Male MC. I called her Tita Rita. Tita Rita, thank you so much. I owe a lot to you because she believed in my skill set, that I could transfer the skills I had for hosting on TV and bring it. And despite the fact of being very, very drunk, you let me host, and it got somewhere. In fact, there's an interesting story that during my wedding, when I got married about 12 years ago, but it feels just like yesterday because my wife is in front of me right now. It feels just like yesterday. Is that I got my good friends and great host Isa Litton and then Jane Rodriguez to host my wedding. But there was one portion of my wedding. They said, RJ, we're going to give the mic to you. You host this part of your wedding which was the games, because I love playing the games, because the games
Yeah.
I play, it's an interactive game. I have a signature game called How Well Do You Know Your Spouse, which I've
Yeah.
played for many, many years, but it's a timeless game. People love that game. I played it there,
And
and people enjoy it.
I've watched you do that. It's really,
It's
really
fun, and there's different reactions every time. And that's why I mean, that's one of the games I miss so much, playing live for people, no? Especially now during social distancing. So it's a bit difficult now, or a bit more challenging to do. And I hosted that part of my wedding, which is fun. And the funny thing is, 10 years later, during my wedding anniversary, I hosted it again for my own wedding, for my own little wedding reception, 10th year wedding celebration. So yeah, it's really fun thing to do.
wonderful, wonderful backstory. So, okay, let's go to the weddings that has happened last year and this year. I know that medyo nag-open up na ng konti, diba? Parang nag-ano na CQ. So there were a little bit of events here and there. But can you tell us, in the last few months na nagkaroon ka ng event, na
Yeah,
nakapag- ka, what were the things that you saw differently, or the certain protocols that you had to do with the new normal in in a wedding?
Well, I think what's very important, both for the safety of the guests and of the suppliers, is that for me right now, obviously, when we do our wedding preparations, everything is done online. And that's why, again, I think it's very important that you get seasoned hosts or professional hosts who can do this one. Because if you meet us online, we know exactly how to plan your wedding, even if it's online. And we also know, let's say, for example, we had to learn also how to compress a wedding program, because we can't have people exposed for such a long period of time.
Right.
So we
Yes.
can tell, okay, what elements can you take out from the program but still make it feel very full? What elements can you to shift around to make sure that the video and the photo same day edits still come into the same place, still can be played? Because right now, because of these are the behind the scene things that you
Yes.
don't see. But the production wise, as a host, you're like the conductor. You know exactly what's supposed to happen. Like I had to say, you have to tell the couple, okay, if you want to play the video here, you've got give enough time for the videographer to do this one. So you have to really brief your couple as to how to prepare these things properly. And you have to tell them what elements need to remain in the program and be taken out of the program at the same time. And the other thing we also have to explain to them as well is, we can make this more interactive. We can have, that's the whole, I mean, like our good friend Atom Ungson already right now has that live streaming program, right? You can do a live stream. We can, what we do is, our job is to tell them how you can integrate seamlessly your live stream guests to the live
Yes,
guests who are there as well. And I've
yes.
done that as well, and vice versa. How do you involve, kasi there's an extra element now, diba? You're not just involving the guests who are live, you're also involving the guests who are watching via live stream. How do you get them to participate or feel like that they are interacting also with the program, diba? That's one of the things that you want to do when you adjust the program. And also, on top of that one, everything in the program has to be more controlled. You want to avoid movement, diba? Bilang host, nababasa mo yung mga movements ng tao. So you're trying to tell them, okay, you need to eliminate the number of people moving around. You have to not eliminate, but you have to minimize the number of people moving around the room. You have to minimize the speeches to the most essential. You have to tell them, okay, you have to guide them. Let's say, if somebody's giving a speech, you have to help them, provide them sort of like a template, so that things are don't take too long, because that's what's important nowadays, diba? But at the same time, it shouldn't feel like it's been so struck that the best thing that I like is when people tell me, I like the program. It feels so like it's completed. It was done by this time, but everything was complete. Because that's your job as a host to do. That you know all these different elements that come into play. And even during this intimate wedding program, is that how do you create that intimacy with the program so it still feels very intimate? So how do you take that? My job is to take the different elements and still make it feel very, very full. And the other thing as well we need to remind people is that the suppliers, they must remind event organizers, if they have any, must remind that I think it's very important that everybody gets a swab test. I think that's very important, whatever it is, before it starts. Not just for the safety of it's for the safety of everybody. Everyone nowadays. And all the most, if not all the weddings I have done during this time, I have done taking a swab test before I do the wedding.
Yes.
And many of them,
normally, do you take it like 2 days before the event, or
I take it on the day
On
of
the
the
day of
event.
the event.
On the day of the event. So I don't enter the venue, but I also take my own. I mean, I take the responsibility of taking my own swab test as well before going to certain events, no. And and as a host, though, I think it's my responsibility. I understand as a host, I sometimes have to, yung laway ko yung pinakamarami dyan, di ba? Because
Yes.
I
Ikaw
overtook me
talaga.
talking the most. So I make sure that I always wear the face shield and the face mask as I host. But your job as a host is to know how to project your voice because that's part of the performance and how to
So
handle properly the mic so that you can
even
still
with the
do
host,
that.
even with
Yeah,
the
mic,
face mask.
even with the face mask. But also, of course, that's where it comes already right now. How that tests your mettle as a host or your skill set as a host. Can even without them not seeing your full face, can your voice express properly what you want to say? Does it still have the gravitas that it needs when you're talking over there? And I think that's what's important. And that's why again, no, I cannot overly emphasize, even if you don't get me. I mean, Jenny or any of the great hosts out there, is that you're not just getting a host because he speaks well. You're getting a host because your host is sort of like your director slash producer slash conductor of the whole program. Kasi that's what we're thinking of. And we're thinking of what's the pacing of the program. Because, di ba, I often say that, yung pinakamalaking kalaban mo dyan sa isang wedding is dead air. Because, that's when nothing is happening. So your job as the host is that mabilis yung pick up mo. You know the pacing. That if something goes wrong, may plan A, plan B ka na. And usually if you just get a friend to do that, if something like that happens, you cannot control that one.
Yeah.
Is that what you want for your program, whether it's pre-pandemic or during this pandemic? No, you want to get somebody with a presence of mind of knowing what do you do if there's a problem, especially now, di ba? And how do you handle it, di ba? And how do you fix up the program so that nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes? That's what you want when you get a host.
Yeah. Grabe. So well said. Actually, that's one of the questions here, pero nasagot na agad ni RJ. Hindi ko na yun isasama sa questions on why you should get a host, right? But, so you were talking about some elements to make it even fun.
Is it me or is the audio disappear on you?
No, we can hear. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Now I can.
Yes. Okay. So, so you're talking about some parts of the program to still make it fun, even if there's limited number of guests. Can you give us just a few examples that you could, make as a suggestion for couples to still make it fun, even if small na yung number of guests nila?
Okay. Number one, I often tell people now. Okay, they used to have Instagram games, no, but I guess for safety and protocol reasons, it's not something that we should be doing during this crisis. We used to invite people to take Instagram photos of weddings and post them online, right? That was one way of interacting with guests, which right now might not be too appropriate, right? Okay, especially for specific venues, diba? So instead, the games which I play require, because I always tell people, attending a wedding is like telling a story, diba? You've got to tell the story of the couple. Therefore, kasi, I'll tell you this one, when it comes to games, diba? Do you want to play, you can play any game that you want, but what is the purpose, diba? Because if the wedding is all about telling a story, you want people to get the full story of the couple, especially what if you don't know, the bridal but not the groom, you don't know about the family of the groom, you don't know the family but the bride, you want to get the full story. So for me, I often play interactive trivia games about the couple, which build up as part of the stories. For example, I have a question called how well do you know the couple? And it's a set of multiple choice questions about the couple. Or some people, they like to play the game called bride or groom, diba? When you raise the bride or the groom. I mean, both of them, they're very reasonable, but I like them because it's interactive. You can even have guests. You can make it a switch between live guests and online guests who participate in the game. But I think it's a matter of telling a story about the couple, which is important, right?
So parang it's not just basta game lang. Like, don't just come up with a game.
Yeah, and that's what I try to avoid because I feel that it doesn't build up to anything. My background, like I said, no, I wear many hats. And one of them is a storyteller. I'm a nonfiction writer, diba? So you're always there, but you want to create the story by the time, so it becomes relevant to the people. Kaya pala ginagawa niya yan, diba? That's what you want. That's what you want people to figure out, and they feel all the more better for it. But of course, and it's also because these type of games don't require people to come on stage anymore to be interactive. They can participate from their seats even if they're just listening. You get? Even if you're just listening, they can participate. You don't have to get so much movement for the games at the same time. So those are the type of things that you do. And it's also studying of the guests. Sometimes it should be the hosts trying to move around. When you do those questions and like I say, making it fun. Again, just to emphasize, sometimes the good thing about being a host, like for yourself or for me, our specialty is rapport or interaction with guests, how to talk to them. So the humor comes from the talking to the guests, right? You bring out the humor in it and the warmth in it and the wit in doing that one. So ako, people laugh because I know how to sometimes you know how to read guests and how to talk to them. Parang nakakatawa, di ba?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the funny part and what makes a wedding memorable. I often tell people there are 3 elements that make a wedding memorable. It's partly a wedding reception is partly dramatic. So kailangan may konting drama sa wedding mo. What do you do to create a drama? As a host, that's why I suggest different ways to make it dramatic. It has to be partly solemn, di ba? What part may konting quiet. Oh, di ba? They're like that, di ba? Oh, others naman drama. Iiyak sila kasi may kwento. Pinoy, di ba? The third one is, it has to be funny. You have to make them laugh. You want to go home thinking, well, parang buo yung wedding ko. I think if you can bring in those 3 elements during that time, all of that, that's what's going to make the wedding fun.
Yeah. Amazing. Guys, I hope you're listening to that. 3 things, sabi. So, make it dramatic, make it solemn, and
Make it
make
fun.
it fun. Right. So, okay. Here in Worldwide Weddings TV, RJ, we actually have true-to-life brides and grooms as well na gine-guest namin. And so, tonight, we have one guest coming all the way from Iloilo. So we're going to bring in a guest. And so she's excited to meet you and to ask you questions. So
Sure.
I'd like to bring on stage our real bride, Miss Looney Moranan.
Hi, Looney.
Hello po, good evening.
Mayong gabi.
Hello. Mayong gabi.
Ayan. So go ahead, Looney. Tell us kailan ba yung plano mong wedding and where do you plan to get married before you ask the question?
Dito lang po sa Iloilo City and we were hoping po sa December 2. So hindi pa kami sure kung may COVID pa ba by that time or wala na.
Nag-mutate na yan. So okay lang yan. I pray, Looney, that you're all well, and I'm so happy that you're getting married. I'm so happy that you're getting married. I'm so happy that you are planning to push through with getting married, especially during this new normal.
Okay. Go ahead, Looney.
Okay, yung first question ko po, actually nasagot nyo na eh. One of the first things you said was to really choose a professional host compared to someone you just know, di ba? So, my first question is there any required total number of meetings between the host and the couple for them to establish a relationship?
Okay, so I'll speak from my own experience. I only meet once. And that's just to lay down the program because how do I explain this to you? Through trial and error, through years of hosting weddings, I know, it's like I can read people and you can read what makes a good program. Kumbaga, basa ko yung reaction, basa ko yung time ng wedding. So my job with you is just to get your alignment on what you want to do. And that's why, if you notice, I said that it's like storytelling, right? When I do a wedding, I like to tell a good story. I actually ask those questions during the one-time meeting natin. Because you'll see by the time that the wedding is done, by the time the program is done, I understand you. I know exactly how to make it run. So I also ask the proper questions, like what are the proper questions? Sometimes you've got to find out, are the parents of the couple okay? Are they separated? Are there any special considerations that we must know about the family arrangements? Like, do you guys have kids? I mean, do you have children already? Diba, out of wedlock? These are the things we just know para walang awkward situation that is created during the wedding. But like I said, no, a good host or a professional host or a seasoned one would know what to ask. And more importantly, it's also nice that in that one meeting, that kasama na yung wedding planner. Para there's no need to repeat what has to be said. So, just for me in my example, I insist that the wedding planner is with me, so no need for me to re-explain again to the planner how the program works, diba? Or how we're going to make it flow. Kasi on my part, I feel like I'm the producer-director. And depending on who the wedding planner is sometimes, like for me, over the years, when they know it's RJ, here is his if I've worked with them, oh, here's his program, just use this one. No need na. No, parang there's no need to talk anymore too much kasi they understand that I understand the storytelling. Like Cardinal Val, who's listening right now, storytelling works great even for corporate presentations. That's right, di ba? What you want to do is, you want to help. If you get a good host, they can help you tell the story pretty well, and he will know you guys that when he's talking over there, it's like he knows you. That's what you want. You want to get a host who he knows you but can still run it professionally.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that my answer good with you?
Okay po. Great ideas po. Okay. So, yung
Good.
second question ko po, pag naghahanap kami ng professional host, so what are the standard packages or inclusions sa mga packages para malaman namin na worth it to sa presyo na hinihingi niya? Parang
Okay,
ganun.
I think nowadays it's not the worth. Like for me, I don't for my contract is. I'll tell you my experience. I don't have mine is basically. I tell in my contract is basically I have one meeting with you, and then I host and you have me for the whole hosting period that I'm supposed to be there. For me, more or less, a good program is about 2.5 hours. Kasi if you go any longer than 2.5 hours, it just runs too long. And if a host doesn't know how to control that time, you're not in trouble, but it will drag and people will naturally go home. Kasi a good host knows how to pack it in, diba? He knows how to make sure everything is there. In fact, if you get a good host, he'll tell you, ma'am, kailangan tanggalin yung game na to because unless you put games, honestly, the secret why we have games because we're trying to buy time para sa videographer na tapusin yung same day edit video. No,
Yes.
I tell people sometimes some games are good, but games are there for a purpose, diba?
Yeah.
And they're there to make things fun, but they're also there to buy time. But sometimes, if like say for the new normal, diba, you also want to make sure that you're not overexposed to people in one venue. If we can finish it sooner, let's take out that portion kung tapos na yung program na yan. So for the host, hindi yan sa sulit, diba? It's the same thing. Like it's more like, why do you hire a specific videographer, photographer to do your program? Because you like their sense of storytelling, you like their sense of style, which is different from everybody else's. So what you just do is you just basically choose which style you think fits your personality as a couple. And when you do, you get that host. Then if you think he's good value for money, then hire him. If you think his rate is too high, then negotiate with him, diba? I mean, it's the new normal anyway. You can negotiate. Like for me right now in Iloilo, sino to ulit? Taga Iloilo sila na they were from Iloilo. One of the biggest they made my video pa naman. Mayad is from Iloilo.
Mayad
is from
Studios.
Iloilo.
Yes.
They're basically based from Iloilo. And why were they able to go nationwide, even up to UAE? Because it's their storytelling prowess that's important and how they do it. So again, you have to find which based on their visual style, based on their storytelling, which one do you like the most? So pag host naman, you take a look. Everybody has got a video on screen, or you can look at testimonials from different people. If you like what they have to say, if you like what you've watched, then maybe those are the ideal. That's the ideal host for you.
Yes. Very well
Okay,
answered.
noted po, noted.
Great.
Sige po, final question na lang po.
Sure. Go ahead. Nako, nakaka-exciting
Final
naman ito.
question po. So,
Ayan,
sa December yung wedding namin. So, hopefully by that time po, wala nang travel restrictions, wala nang COVID. So, what if gusto po namin na kunin kayo bilang host? Or may non-negotiable host kami from out of town? Ano po ba yung standard na out-of-town fees para dyan?
It really depends on the kind of host that you get. It's like saying that there are different qualities and costs for different hosts, but what you're really paying for in the end is the quality of service that they deliver to you. So I can't tell you that it's a talent that you're getting there. It's like saying I want a Gary V. I want a Gary V level performance, but can somebody else? Can you? It's like I want to get the Gary V, but can I just get somebody to do a cover na lang the Gary V and send him there instead? You know what I mean? Parang you can't. What you're hiring is the quality of the host. So he will give you a quality performance. Like I don't know. My rate might fall under not as affordable as everybody else, but when you get out, people are saying, "Oh wow, that was a really great hosting." I'll be hosting very soon Actually, in the States, I think in 2022, I'll be hosting a wedding in the States for a very intimate wedding, di ba? But they want that because they know that I'm not spending a lot anymore on the number of
Other
guests
things.
or the look. But they said, I just want somebody to do, where it's worry free. Not I don't have to worry about how the program runs or whatever else. I just like what he's doing. Parang ganyan.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So thank you so much, Miss
Thank you po.
Lumi.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Looney. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us.
Thank you. So we hope that to all our viewers that you were able to pick up a thing or two. Wonderful answers there, RJ. So
Thank you.
we're actually down to the last few minutes of our show, and I'm sure you guys
Sure.
have more questions for RJ. But if you would like to interact more, actually, we do have an online wedding community called Worldwide Weddings PH. So we invite you to join in our community because our wedding experts are also included in that community. So when they have the time, they can answer most of your questions as well. So we are gonna do a little bit of a raffle later, but before
Sure.
that, RJ, of course, I wanna give you this time to share to everyone, maybe at this point, not just for the soon to weds, even the suppliers, like a message to everyone during this time of pandemic, because gaya na sinabi mo at the beginning, a lot of the people are feeling a little bit under the weather because
Yeah.
of the events not happening. So any inspirational words that you can
Yeah.
share to everyone,
I
not
think
just
this is
soon to
what's,
weds.
and I'll take this, let me explain. No? So, like I said, I am an entrepreneur mentor, so I wear my entrepreneurship hat. And one of the awards which we recently won for my company was the Man Smith Innovation Award for Business Models. I'm not saying this to make yabang, but rather to explain what it means, what I mean by innovation. Diba? Innovation is taking business models from other industries. For me, the definition of innovation can be um, if you're solving a problem, right? Basically, in any business that you do, the biggest question you ask yourself if you want a business to be successful is that what problem is my business trying to solve, right?
Yeah.
And you want to solve it in a unique and innovative way. There are many ways to solve problems unique and innovatively. And one of the ways that people solve problems unique and innovatively is that they borrow ideas from other industries and bring it into your own industry. So, for example, and I'm trying to explain this because soon wedding suppliers will get my point. No, for example, if you've heard of this app called Eatigo, Eatigo is an app. No, it's like if you download that app and you eat in a restaurant, you can get up to 50% off in restaurants, right? And I was wondering how is that possible to get 50? Who makes money there if it's 50% off on the food? So I spoke to the person who created the Eatigo app. He's based out of Singapore, and I interviewed him when he was here in the Philippines and explained to me, RJ, I was not looking at the restaurant industry when I was creating that app. I was looking at the hotel industry. Why the hotel industry? Because in the hotel industry, there are days that are, there are seasons where it's high season, peak season, and low season. So what does the hotel do in the low season? In the low season, rather than having vacancy, which becomes an opportunity cost to them kasi walang gumagamit ng kwarto, why don't they just sell it to a third party? They sell that empty room to a third party at a lower cost so that kumikita pa rin yung hotel at kumikita pa rin yung third party. Well, he said, look at the restaurant industry. It's almost the same thing. That at lunchtime, walang kumakain, di ba? But lunchtime, marami kumakain. Dinner time, marami kumakain. But nobody eats at the low times. 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m., 11 to 12 p.m. So what do you do instead? Instead of having opportunity cost, instead of having nobody eat over there, then let us sell it to a third party like Eatigo para kumita yung restaurant at kumita yung Eatigo. So that just means that we have to find innovations in other industries as well. You have to reapply the skill sets that you have, and maybe you can find other ways where there's other industries where you can use it in. For example, in Germany, there was a live events company that was doing events, right? But because of the pandemic, they couldn't do events. So what did they do? They had to look at their own skill sets, their brand essence, and say, what do we really do? And what they figured out is that what they're really good at doing is building furniture or stages or production. So they said, okay, we can use the skill set that we have and reapply it by creating pandemic-friendly pandemic-friendly work from home furniture, which is ideal for these times. So they use their skill sets and use it in another way. So the same thing for us in this industry. Okay, like for me as a host, I never been fully a host, but that's why people see I do so many different things, right? Hosting is one of the things I do, but because of what did I pivot? What did I pivot doing? When this crisis started, I started hosting so many events for Go Negosyo online, talking online. People started seeing that I was doing a lot of talking online. That I started getting hired to do online hostings for so many different things. And people saw I was giving talks on entrepreneurship until finally I got hired to do these entrepreneurship talks here as well. So although I'm not, I don't, before I used to host weddings almost every weekend, which is not possible nowadays. I've been hosting online shows almost every week. And why you're also hosting shows on every week is that you've got to showcase to people that proof of concept that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
And the more that they see you do it, the more that they hire you. So sometimes you do certain events that people pay you to do, and you do certain events as proof of concept. My podcast is proof of concept, but now people like it. People are sponsoring the show, so that's an income generator. I'm talking entrepreneurship. I talk entrepreneurship. That's an income stream. I host online show that becomes an income stream, right? And so all of a sudden, my income stream is not fully reliant on hosting from weddings, but doing different things. At least sa hosting lang yan. Then I have other income streams from other businesses as well. From the Mercato business stream, from my consultancy business stream, from my franchise I have a business called Easy Franchise, which is an online platform. So that's what's important, diba? You have to find different ways to perceive the business. But if you're here right now listening and you are somebody who is a bit troubled about your business, no? Again, what you have to do is, if you wear what I call your entrepreneurial mindset, you look at the entrepreneurial lens, you're saying, what opportunities exist at this time? You can, my training as an entrepreneur is not to say times are good or times are bad. No, my training as an entrepreneur is to say, what are the opportunities that exist in good times and in bad times? And that should be the same sort of insight for us during weddings. Okay, maybe weddings isn't working out right now. So there are different ways to address that sort of pain point. Is that pain point to say, how can we help people continue weddings in the new normal? Diba? So you find different ways to do it. Is it creating intimate weddings? Is it helping them do different things that way? Or kaya you say, okay, what can I do with my skill set that might be appropriate also during this time? Diba? What can I do differently at this time, but still utilizing my skill set? If you were a wedding planner, planning might be your brand essence. Can you bring that same planning skill set to do other things aside from weddings, right? Yeah. So that's what you want to think about during this time.
Yeah. Wow, absolutely amazing. And we have a lot of comments in the comment section. So, ang daming insight. Thank you, Sir RJ. Yeah, super daming learnings. A lot of people are learning tonight. So, to all of our suppliers out there, you just have to wear your, what's that, RJ? Entrepreneurial lens.
Yes, you have to wear your entrepreneurial lens and see things with opportunity. See the world with opportunity. Of course, it's scary, but you know what? Sometimes this crisis is just testing us. Like there's a Chinese character Wei Ji. What does Wei Ji mean? The first character Wei means crisis, but the second character Ji means opportunity. That means in crisis there's opportunity. Don't let the good crisis go to waste. And I think particularly for my own business, I was, I think about right now. Wow, I'm actually getting paid for some events that I'm hosting. The same, if not a larger amount, doing it online rather than doing it offline or live, and I'm happy about that one. But that's just a testament to the years of skills that I've been building in my toolbox for hosting, diba? So the skills I've built for hosting offline have been very good online, and now people look at you and say, oh, you do it, you pretty, and they go to you, they look for you because, like I said, no, your job is to create that unique selling proposition for yourself. Like for me as a host, why do people like me as a host? Because they know that I'm quick thinking, quick on my, I think on my feet. I'm witty, I'm funny, I'm spontaneous and animated and very knowledgeable about different things, and I can quickly adjust. And some people, both the producers and the people listening or the people paying for the bills, they like that. So, they want that. So they hire you, diba? Like for me, I might not maybe, and for other people, like I see my friend Isa Litton doing a lot of lifestyle events because she's excellent at lifestyle events, doing that live and projecting that great has a great presence online for doing those type of things, diba? That's not my specialty because that's her unfair, undue advantage, diba? That's her unique selling proposition. But mine, when it comes to business, eyes closed, I can talk, I can be in a forum and then come in, don't have to brief me a lot. I can do it.
Yes.
Same thing when you give me a wedding, I know exactly what to do to make your wedding perfect because you know exactly how weddings work, diba?
Yeah.
I know people's reactions. I know how to make it funny. I know how to make it dramatic. I know how to make it solemn at the same time.
Yes. So guys, wow, time flies so fast. Okay, so we're gonna do our raffle right now. So basically,
let me just say thank you.
Yes.
Magpapasalamat. Jazz Dorado, thank you so much. Thank you, Sir RJ Ledesma. Super daming learnings in all aspects. Maraming salamat rin. And Julie Villas-Mara, thanks so much. I'm a fan of yours, RJ Ledesma. Maraming salamat. Just for everybody else, again, and Stacy and Faith, thanks, RJ Ledesma. Just one more thing, pasensya na lang. Jenny, when you get me, you get also my hosting hat here. Again, guys, please follow my podcast, RJ Ledesma Podcast, on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. I also do it live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And also, you can follow RJ Ledesma online. Please, if you like my interview, take a picture of this one, tag me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I would love to hear from you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much, RJ. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And we hope that you'll have worldwide weddings in your podcast.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Yes. So, all right. So, to everyone who participated tonight, so we're going to flash a wheel. I'm sure you're familiar with this. It's the Wheel of Names. So, everyone who participated here tonight, we are going to scroll it, and we're raffling off 150 pesos. All right, so let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Our lucky winner for tonight is, wow, the last person who commented, who said that, number one fan daw.
Oh, hi,
siya.
Julie Villas-Mara. Maraming salamat. Oh, ayan,
Congratulations.
can we hear her? We can't hear her live, no? Kasi naka-stream pala tayo, no? Hindi pala tayo,
Yes, congratulations, Julie. So just comment down below on our Facebook page so that we can send over the 150 pesos. All right. So everyone, again, if you are a Filipino anywhere in the world and you're planning to get married in the Philippines, all right. So of course, this Worldwide Weddings is the place for you. Watch us every Friday night, 9:00 p.m. Manila time. Or better yet, join us in the community so you can have more fun in planning your wedding. So again, my name is Janae Rabbit. Thank you for watching Worldwide Weddings TV, helping Filipino brides and grooms around the world. Thanks
so much,
RJ.
everybody. RJ Ledesma, guys. Thanks so much. If you want to get in touch with me, go to visit my website, rjledesma.com, or visit my public Facebook page, RJ Ledesma. Everybody, please stay safe, stay well, stay good. God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. God is good all the time. Take care. We're still live.